Hello, everyone. Dr. Ames here. This time I'd like to talk to you about social perception and information processing in general. Now, really, a socially competent person can make use of the cues when they communicate with other people that they give us through a variety of means to really understand what's going on. For instance, you see these three elements here. Being aware is a major part of really understanding social perception and developing it yourself. So if you are aware, then you're working on trying to understand what are the thoughts and so forth that people have. And being aware says that you know that every individual has a unique blend of thoughts, beliefs, emotions, intentions, and desires, and so forth. So you have to start on the very foundation of knowing that these things exist and then finding ways to see them when they're there and understanding what you see. So being able to interpret is certainly follows once you have the awareness that certainly people have a lot going on within their minds and so forth that we don't see just by observation. So being able to interpret is really about being able to read other people's inner states. And this is not easy to do. Usually it takes a little familiarity with the person. And of course, you do need some basic psychological knowledge. But being able to read sometimes is a matter of experience and intuition as well, because you can read other people's inner states somewhat based on their words and their behavior and their facial expressions and so forth. So what we do with that information is we make adjustments. And those adjustments are in our own behavior in how we respond and how we react to these people, to these readings that we're getting from them about the social state of their mind and how they are feeling. So, on the basis of these various clues, such as facial expressions, tone of voice, loudness of the conversation, and things like that, we can make a reasonable adjustment or we can make a reasonable judgment about what a person's state of mind might be, their emotional state, their affect at the moment, and maybe their intentions. So it is being socially aware is really about another tool that managers can use to help them make the best decisions based on their understanding of situations and context. So competent people who are socially aware use these various inferences to determine something about another person's inner state um, and to make good decisions on how to respond and behave socially yourself. So when it comes to perception and information processing, when it comes to the business world, it really is all about perception. Perception is reality in the business world when you really think about it. What people believe is the truth is much more important than the truth itself. That's because we have to react to what people perceive as the truth because they're going to act accordingly. And so we have to understand that sometimes what the real truth is doesn't matter as much as us understanding what another person believes, what they perceive, so that we can deal with that situation. So we have to react to people. And somewhere along the line, hopefully, if their perceptions are something we think is incorrect or inaccurate, we might have an opportunity to show them where they're in error and so forth. And so it really is, in that sense, something we can use as a managerial tool. Um, if you look in the textbook, the author really gives us a couple good examples about how this perception and processing of information really does affect the world of business. So the idea is to recognize what the perception of your consumers is out there and then anticipate that and then deal with it in case it's on the negative side so that you can solve the problem before it gets out of control. And so in the textbook, the author gives us a couple of great examples of this, um, where the authors talk about Domino's Pizza and the Chicago Bears. So let's just take Domino's Pizza first. Just a few years ago, the perception was widespread amongst consumers that the product was, well, particularly awful. Um, And it was a widespread correct assumption. It was terrible. And customer complaints had been going into the head office for quite some time, years in fact. People saying that the ingredients are substandard, that your crust tastes like cardboard, that your delivery is terrible, and that when we get our pizza half the time it's stuck to the top of the box or it's all been traveled sideways or something. Um, and Domino's is really close to going out of business a few years ago because of this widespread, um, really perception of their product. Incorrect or not, or correct, it doesn't really matter. That's what consumers were thinking. And so we saw a series of commercials from the CEO of Domino's saying, "We realize that we haven't done a good job and we're sorry." And he ran these series of commercials. The CEO stood up on screen with a Domino's pizza, opened it up, and said, "This is just terrible and we can't have it." And he threw it in the trash can right in the commercial. And then he followed up by saying, "We're going to make a commitment to you to do better, to have better quality ingredients, to give you a quality product." And so, really, what was he doing? It was a calculated business strategy to reclaim some market share due to the perception of consumers out there. And so they ran a series of these types of commercials where he went out and basically apologized for their product numerous times. And then it led to one commercial where uh, they were destroying their showroom. Where you normally walk into a Domino's pizza place, you see showcases, there's a small area to stand around, maybe a couple of chairs, beverage container of some type, and that's it. And what they had people in there doing was destroying the counters with sledgehammers and doing general destruction on to give you the notion that we are going to change, that we are going to reinvent ourselves. And certainly after that, they renovated all their Domino's interiors to look like something new. They changed ingredients, processes, ways they had done things. And actually, they're doing much better in the marketplace today. Now, this is a similar situation to what we see, continue to see really, with the Chicago Bears. They were just a terrible football team that had played terrible over the years through whatever combination of events and reasons. And team owners and management knew that the public perception out there was widespread that the Chicago Bears as a football team were just terrible, that they probably were never going to get any better, and also that it reflected on management and ownership as well, that they didn't seem to know what they were doing. They couldn't put together a real team that the city deserved, and all of that kind of thing. So the Chicago Bears took out a full page newspaper ad. In fact, they've done this more than once. But in this particular case, a full page ad to try and boost their brand image, to try and reclaim some of their reputation that had suffered greatly in the perception of the consumers out there. And they apologized to the city in this full page ad. And they apologized to the fans for all their terrible play. So what we see here in both examples is that perception is powerful in the business world. And it does dictate our managerial response and how we handle situations and events. And it does show that the importance of understanding the perception that's in the minds of people. And of course, it makes us realize how difficult it really is to understand that perception. So that is the source of a lot of marketing activity to find out what people are thinking and so forth by running surveys and different types of endeavors to sort of find out. Okay, folks, that's what I wanted to talk about this time. I'll talk to you again soon.